I'm just in Japan on a bike. I'm out for a ride. Lovely day in Japan. It's October 2024. Very nice, very warm, well over 20 degrees, and dry for a change. We've had a long, hot, wet summer, which went really well into September this year. But I'm not averse to riding in the wet, in the rain, but it just isn't enjoyable when you're doing it for pleasure. When you just want to go out for a ride for pleasure, then obviously bad weather is not enjoyable. If you've got to go somewhere, if you're commuting to work or whatever, then so be it. But anyway, done about 800 kilometers. That's about 500 miles so far. Still running the bike in. And so far, what can I tell you about it? Well, very happy with it. It's a very leisurely bike. Now, if you've been following my channel, if you've been watching my old videos, you'll know that I had a Lita sports bike before. I still have the V-Strom 250, that's the baby V-Strom. This is the 650 XT. This is the middle entry for the V-Strom. It's a 2023 model, although I bought it this year in June because I bought an old stock from last year and it was heavily discounted because it was last year's model. And they've although this third generation V-Strom 650 came out in 2017, there has been a 2024 update with color schemes. I don't think there's a whole lot different for the 2024 model, just the color schemes. I have to say I really do like the new color schemes much more than what has come before. In fact, I'm not complaining because, as I said, I got a really good discount, but I really do like the new colour schemes on the V-Strom 650 for 2024. But anyway, I've got this one and I'm not complaining because it is an absolute bargain. I can't stress enough how much Suzuki bikes are good value for money. And yeah, they are not perfect when it comes to the final touches, the finish, and little niggles here and there. I did have something wrong with it, which I will tell you about, but that was not serious and it was easily fixed and quickly fixed. I think it was a trans out that. And everybody's out today. It's a Sunday in the middle of a long weekend. Tomorrow's a public holiday, so there are so many holiday makers, weekend drivers, Sunday drivers, Sunday riders. I suppose you could count me as one of those. And the roads are absolutely diabolically jammed on the route that I was on. So I've come over to a route that I know is quiet. I know it's always quiet here. Okay, I'm rambling a bit. So what about the bike? And very comfortable for me. Now I can get both feet flat on the ground. And the only thing I'll say is, which I find a bit odd, when my legs are flat on the ground, I do find that the foot pegs dig into my car. Anyone else? Well, those first two were noisy, weren't they? So I do find that the foot pegs dig into my calf muscles, which anyway, it's not a major complaint. It's just an observation. Slightly annoying sometimes, but anyway, never mind. But the riding position is basically comfortable. The seat height is just right. I'm 180 centimeters, that's 5'11", and my inside leg measurement is 33 inches. I forget what that is in centimeters, even though I'm in Japan where we use metric here. And my feet are flat on the ground, no problem. I don't get any cramps in my legs when I'm riding, not at all. So very leisurely ride indeed. It's quite impressive how laid back a ride this is. This is not a bike, it's not a pretty bike, in my opinion. It doesn't look good. It's not one that turns heads particularly. But that's not what this is about. You know, I didn't buy this bike. I drilled over loads of really beautiful looking bikes, real eye candy. But this bike is not eye candy at all. However, it's a real common sense bike, in my opinion, and it's a real, I think, although it's categorized as an adventure bike, I think that the riding position and the feel of the bike, to me, is more like sort of old school, standard, what they call it, the universal Japanese motorcycle. I forget what they call it. You know, just the standard upright position, and very comfortable indeed, I have to say, which is what I wanted, because my old Lita sports bike gave me pain in the wrist, and that one reason for that is actually I do suffer from a little bit of joint pain, and it aggravated my wrist pains, which was really unpleasant when going on longer rides, and especially when stuck in traffic, and especially when the weather was colder as well. It really gave me wrist problems. Another thing, of course, is that the 650, which is well known to be a very popular bike, a very reliable bike, and a great all-rounder, it's one of those bikes that I think people who, once they get one, it becomes one of these bikes for people that they don't want to let go of. It doesn't really get your pulse racing. It doesn't really get you excited. But when you are on it, you just feel wow. It's not that there's a wow factor, I suppose. It's just that you feel this is really pleasant. This is very, very leisurely. This is really where I want to be. And I can enjoy the view. I don't have to think about much. You know, I've been riding around these mountain roads, and once away from the traffic, third gear, you put it in third gear and it's almost like riding an automatic or something. You know, you hardly need to change gear at all. And that may, of course, not be something that appeals to everyone, because there is some fun in riding more hastily, more sportily, and changing up and down the gearbox. But if you just are out for a leisurely ride, and if you're simply out for the scenery, the enjoyment of the wind therapy, and you're not that bothered about trying to keep up with sports bikes, which I haven't even gone there. You know, it's not, especially as I'm running the bike in, I haven't even tried going too fast on it. Then I think this is definitely a bike I recommend. I can't believe that it's taken me this long to get this bike. I think that the people that own these bikes, they know how great it is, but they just don't. They're just not the sort of people to shout about it. They're just not the sort of people to pose. It's not a posing bike. It's just a bike that you can depend on. Do you see those mini bikes there? There's quite a lot of those in Japan. Very popular, those mini bikes. At least one of those is very noisy as well. And well, that reminds me, that makes me think of something else, a segue here. That is the fact that, you know, those people riding these mini bikes, they're probably having the time of their lives. They're probably grinning the whole ride, and they're probably going to be grinning tonight all the way until they doze off to sleep in bed and having sweet dreams. Because that was another issue with my Lita sports bike, was you just can't enjoy that kind of bike in normal conditions, on normal roads. You have to always be worried. You're always worried about getting pulled over by the law, you know, speed cameras, traffic cops. And that's even if you can find somewhere to use the full potential of the bike. This bike, however, it's got, of course, it easily exceeds speed limits, and it does go fast enough. But it's also got the, how can I say, it's got the power when you need it, but it's also happy to go leisurely. As I said, you can stick it in third gear on country roads, mountain roads like I'm on now, and you don't feel that you are wasting the power, wasting the speed. You don't feel frustrated. That's what I felt with the Lita sports bike. I was constantly frustrated. I constantly felt like the bike was trying to catapult me over the car in front with a very slight movement back of the wrist. You know, it was really frustrating. And, you know, there is an old adage, isn't there, that it's more fun to go fast on a slow bike than slow on a fast bike. And that is so true. I think this bike, you know, I've got the 250 V-Strom, and that is really good fun because you can really thrash it, and you can really enjoy it. You can really go fast on it. In the sense you feel you're going fast, you're revving the engine. And it's good enough. However, of course, it does have its limitations because talking of that, there's a 250 V-Strom just past me. They're very popular here. And it's a good fun bike, but it does give me cramps and aches after a while because it's just smaller, and it's as simple as that. If you're a small person, if you're a weaker person, maybe an older person who's a bit frail, I would recommend the 250 to anybody any day. It's a really good bike, even 2-up with full luggage. It's really good. I've made videos about it. This 650 version is it's a big step up. I think that Suzuki should make a 400 version just to fill the gap between the 250, because they've got the 1150 now. Is it a 1050? Sorry, correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, I know they had the 1000 and the 1050. They've got the well over a litre version of the V-Strom. Again, I think I understand why this is much more popular, and I think it's because if you were on the Lita Plus version of this, I think you'd always be frustrated with the lack of. Was he on? He was on one as well, wasn't he? I think that guy there. I think he was on a V-Strom 650 XT, I believe, and he had the gold rims on his. I really wish this had gold rims on it. I really wish this was black and gold, or even black and red. But I don't know, black and blue. It's doesn't work for me. But I'm not complaining, as I said, because it was heavily discounted, and it's really not a serious issue. It's not a bike you buy for posing on. However, if you got a black and gold one, I think you would be taking more photos of it. I think it's a little bit more eye-catching, a little bit nicer to look at. But I think that the 650 version, I think it's a great size. However, of course, you do need a big bike licence, certainly in countries that require that. Japan doesn't have that thing where you can modify the engine to be limited to a mid-size license. It doesn't have that. It's purely based on the engine capacity. So I'm very surprised in Japan that there isn't a 400cc version available for mid-license riders in Japan and territories that have that rule. And I think also, even if it isn't a licensing issue, I think a 400 version of this probably would be perfect for people that just feel that the gap between the 250 and the 650 is a little bit of a big step up. For me, it's perfect, this bike. I'm not going to give you statistics because I haven't even bothered looking them up since I got the bike. I can't remember what the statistics are, but in real world riding, this is absolutely perfect. And I can see now why I can see why people hold on to them for a long time, do big miles on them. I am extremely happy with it, and I think it's just a very sensible bike. I was looking at bikes, as my heart was telling me yes, my mind was telling me no, but finally I settled. Well, my head won the argument, and I think it was undoubtedly a good choice. I like the fact, another thing I like about it is that the V-twins, my first V-twin, I've had parallel twins. This is my first V-twin, and it's got a nice tone to it. It's not an intrusive, there's no intrusive vibration, but you just feel enough to be pleasurable, and you feel enough and you hear enough for it to be like background music. Like BGM is what they always say in Japan for when you go to shops and some restaurants and that, they've got this BGM, this background music playing, which is normally horrible, by the way. But this BGM, this background music from the engine, is just right. I mean, of course, that'll be to do with the exhaust as well, not only the engine. But it's just right. It's got just the right amount of decibels that's not intrusive and doesn't draw attention to you. I don't want anything that draws attention to me. I'm not that kind of person. I just want to ride unhindered and without incident and without attracting the law, especially. So it's got just the right tone and vibration to be a pleasurable experience without being boring on the one hand where it's not enough, and without being intrusive if it's too much. They've got that spot on. Not sure how deliberate that was. I don't know. I doubt that would have been a design criterion when Suzuki were planning this bike, but definitely got it spot on somehow, deliberate or not. So what else? The fuel economy today. Well, today it's a warm day, and since I got away from all that traffic, I'm getting about 23 kilometers per litre. Sorry, I don't know what that is in your language, but I'm getting 23. That's good. I'm happy with that. I believe it can be better, but that's fine by me. And it's, as I said, I am running the bike in, but frankly, the torque is phenomenal. I mean, the torque on this bike really, as I say, it's also another factor in the sort of leisurely laid back aspect of the bike, because I'm running the bike in, so I haven't tested high rev power, but I suspect, I mean, I've heard that there is high rev power. The red line, I think, is about 10 thou, I think. Actually, it's an analog rev counter, so I can look at that with the engine off. Yeah, 10,000. Can you see that? I don't know. There's a lot of. So it red lines at 10,000, between 10 and 12,000 RPM. But it's all in the, so far, running it in, I haven't taken it up to those dizzy heights, but it's all in the low down and mid-range grunt, which I'm using ample of with my leisurely ride in the running in stage. I have to say that big can on the back, yeah, it's well, you can get away with it on a bike this size because it is a nice size. It has a nice road presence, but yeah, it looks rather big, really. If vanity got the better of me, I would definitely change that, but I'm not in a hurry to do so. It's fine, sounds fine, and I don't really have the money available for some vanity at the moment. And in case you didn't know, you've got this is a great touch. I'm really pleased that they've got the rear suspension adjuster nice and easy there, nice and accessible without tools, just hand controlled. No adjustment on the front forks, in case you didn't know. Water cooled, of course, in case you didn't know. I think most people, you can look up. It's a Hayabusa. So you got here, that's one of those, what do they call it? Yeah, you saw it. Nice. Love those Kawasaki's. You saw that one with the black and reddish tank there. So it's the XT model. So yeah, it's got the adventure-esque styling cues, such as the handguards and the undercat, the engine cowl, the very what do they call that? The belly cowl, or whatever you call that. And there's and of course the wire spoked wheels as well, which well, I would say that in this day and age, wire spoke wheels are more of an aesthetic than any particular functionality or any particular, what's the word I'm looking for, performance feature. Fairly sure I wouldn't notice the difference. In fact, if anything, I wasn't that fussed. I didn't need wire spoke wheels because they are more difficult to clean, and when they get dirty, they do look really dirty. But anyway, I suppose they do look nice, especially I suppose they look nice, especially glinting in the sunlight here. So that's it for now. I'll update you with some more info. And in case you noticed and wondered, I've just got a note on I've strapped it to the, I've taped it to the number plate, just saying that I'm running the bike in, and in Japanese, of course, because I'm in Japan. And it's something you don't see in Japan usually, but years ago I used to see it a lot. When I was younger, back in Blighty, people would put a note on their vehicle saying they were running the vehicle in. Never seen that in Japan. I don't know if that's still a thing anywhere in the world, but I felt I just wanted to do it, just in case people were getting too close up behind or wondering why I was taking it easy. Because although at 800 kilometers the brakes and tires should be all right now, initially, when you're running a bike in, your brakes and your tyre, it's not just the engine, your brakes and your tyres and other parts as well, suspension perhaps, gearbox of course, they are, but especially worried about brakes and tyres initially, so you have to take it easy, you have to give yourself more braking distance, and you can't throw the bike about until the tyres have bedded in a bit. But anyway, there we are. I'm just in Japan on a bike, and catch you in the next video.